Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, welcome. All right. Hello, everyone. Let me just get my stuff ready. Okay. Just getting my notes down right now. So I'll give you guys a quick overview of what we're going to discuss. So I actually am going to go over product updates, and then I am going to give you guys an overview of one of the kits that I created from a common request. See if I can maximize this. There we go. So everyone can see my face. And basically, what we'll do is we will go over the kit, how to use it, what's inside of it, how to set it up, and then I will just do Q&A for a bit. And then, yeah, we'll call it Q&A, but we call it like office hours or something. But yeah, I think I'm gonna just get my stuff ready so I can share it. Real quick. How's everyone doing? If you're watching this as the recording, you will see the bundle, or actually we call them kits now. Makes more sense. So you'll see the kits in the description. So feel free to look at that and then download it from there. What I will do is I will actually add that kit to this live stream so you guys can follow along as well. Copy. Okay. I'm going to paste this here. Was it this? Yeah. So this is the URL. It's a bit long, but you should be able to follow along if you want to download that bundle right there. And then, or kit. Sorry, I'm like programmed a little bit. So yeah, look in the description. If you're following along on this live stream, then just follow this link right here, and then you'll be able to download the kit and use it and follow along as we kind of go through it. So hello, and let's. All right. One last thing. I have so many tabs open. It's a chronic tab opener. All right. I'm gonna close one more thing. Let me move all of these. Okay. So we got some cool updates. And let me share my screen. Window. Wrong window. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. So let me zoom in a little bit. Boom. All right, cool. So actually, let me delete this. Just testing something out real quick. open this. All right, cool. So, for starters, one of the main product updates that we've made is that you can now, for automations, when you're creating a new automation, the editor that pops up is completely different. So before it was like this drop down list, it was kind of hard to navigate. Um, and it was cool for whenever we had a few automations and we were just starting off. But now we've kind of revamped this entire thing. And essentially, we split it up into different apps. So now you can see all the Calendly stuff in one place, Slack in one place, Gmail. You can look at the triggers here. And obviously, since I chose triggers, it's just going to show the ones from triggers. But this basically unlocks a lot of iterations and stuff and improvements that we can do in the future, such as like adding articles here. You can see that there's a description about the trigger, what it does, and it's just a quick way for you to navigate it real quick as well. So, articles for you to quickly see, well, how do I set this up? What do I do? And then, yeah, we'll be adding more. You can see all the Taskade ones here. But essentially, improvement on UI. You can also search. So if I search for something with task, you'll see it brings up all the task ones. I can search for a project, AI agents. So anything that has to do with Taskade. I know this was a very common request for quite some time. People wanted an improvement on the UI aspect. And yeah, our team delivered. We also improved some of the icons as well. So it's easier for you to differentiate. And yeah, that's the main one. So as far as automations go, again with actions, you have different actions over here. So for controlling how your flow is, these are mainly called utilities. So like modifying your data, such as like delaying it, delaying the flow, adding loops to it, searching the web, scraping a web page, transcribing YouTube videos. These are all within the utilities tab. For AI related functionality, you have Ask AI and then AI agents as its own separate tab. And we'll be adding more to this in the future. And then obviously every single app that we support. And then you have your own Taskade internal ones as well. And the cool thing is that it actually supports keyboard navigation as well. So I can quickly use my up and down, side to side, left and right. So you can navigate with your keyboard. So if I did something like task, cool, I can do add task and then press enter. And now you have it in there. So less mouse clicks, less mouse moves. So that's the main update that we have as far as automation UI goes. And now this is also a really cool one. And it's been a long time coming. Agent tool. So whenever I do agent tool, one thing that was cool about agent tools, but it was a bit tricky, was that sometimes you would send, let's say you had something like this, right? Let's do this. Let's say I wanted to find a set of tasks in a project. Well, actually, this one doesn't have a project, so I'm just going to go back here and delete this. So basically, to give you an overview, Agent Tool now supports configuring the output for the tool. So you can actually get the output of your automation flow or information from your automation and Agent Tool flow and essentially use it in the chat and have it reflected in the chat. So, for example, I'll go back to this workspace. I'm going to go to leads, the sales one. Okay, so let's say I have this sales representative, right? I'm going to create a new tool for this guy. And we're going to go to add tools. And I'm going to turn these off actually, just to show you how this works. So we're going to do a new tool. In here, I'm just going to put client website. Parameters are basically when the AI detects these data points or variables present in your prompt in a chat, it will trigger it. So we can do like client name. And basically, I'm just going to do client website, client name, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do something really simple. And I'm going to do utilities. We'll do scrape web page. And it's just going to be client website. I'm just going to do continue for now. And then afterwards, once it scrapes the web page, I'm just going to configure this. So when you scroll and navigate all the way to the bottom, you'll see agent tool output. If you press on configure, you'll be able to add an output here. And I'll say client website audit results. And I'm actually going to ask one of my AI agents. So let's say my sales rep, analyze. We're going to use the content of the web page. I'm going to say analyze and see what services and products we can offer based on the client's website. So just a real simple use case. It's going to scrape a web page, and then depending on the output over here, I'm going to do plain text, save changes, and then when I do configure, I'm going to do at, and I'm going to take the summary. So the summarization step over here, it's just going to use it here. And I'll do save changes, and then I'll enable this tool so I can use it. And I'm going to do audit client's website. Let's go back here. Now I just have to add this tool. Add tools, audit client's website, and cool. Now, what I am going to do is I'm just going to say client website, taskade.com, client name, Taskade. And then I could say something specific. So I could say run client audit website tool. And then obviously it triggers it. I approve it. And what it's going to do is after it scrapes it, whatever, and it summarizes it, it's going to give me the AI agent's result back. So just a few other use cases that you can use this for. You can get refreshed marketing data. You can send custom HTTP requests for refreshing that data, and it will then be part of your chat. So the audit of Taskade's website reveals the following opportunities. These options can streamline. So it just gave me the result from this. Now, ways that you can improve this even more. You can do send HTTP request. So you can, for example, if you wanted to know what the weather is, you can connect the weather API to this, ask it, what's the weather like today? And it will actually fetch those results and then bring it into your thing. So this unlocks a lot of capabilities with the agent tool, and it allows you to actually bring in outside data into your conversations with your agent. So, example, you can literally send an HTTP request to, let's say, Google Search Console to look up the search volume for a certain keyword. And you can then have that process back into the agent chat and then continue your conversation or generate reports off of it or run other tools using that data specifically. So, this configure output unlocks a lot of possibilities, and we're only going to keep improving this even more. So, that's the second main update that we have. I'm gonna leave that. And let's see. And now I think what I'm going to do is just kind of switch into the kit that I had from before. So I'll just give you some context on how to use this kit. We're going to go into Acme Corp. The idea is that we have You're managing a project, you're an agency, whatever it is, you work with your client has certain requests. Typically, these requests are processed through a form. And I wanted to kind of show you the whole flow and how this kit makes it possible for you to just install it. So, first thing you would do is go into chat. You're going to open the URL. So, the URL that I had given you before, and then you're going to press install. I know you guys can't see my screen, but essentially you'll do install bundle and you'll be able to see it here. So you choose which workspace you want to add it to, and then you'll get something similar to this. I didn't do a README for this because I'm just going to go over it in this instead. So essentially, you're going to have one project. Let me see if I actually have it over here. Yeah. So this is something similar to what you'll see. You're just going to have a project called client requests, and then you'll have a whole bunch of automations. I'm going to go through every single one of these, explain how it works, and then give you the outcomes for it. So basically, you'll have a project that says something like client requests. And then if someone submits a new request, you'll have it automatically populated over here. And then depending on the status that you change, so for example, if I move this to in progress, you'll see that moved into the in progress section. If I change it to blocked, you'll see it moved into the block section. And these automations come ready to use right out the block or right out the kit. So just install it, ready to go. If you mark this as completed, you'll see this change to completed and it will be moved to this completed section over here. And boom. Now I can always remove this and then put it back to not started. And you'll see it come back here. If you assign it to someone, so if I assign it to myself, you'll see this change to in progress and then it will move it over here. So just very specific workflows. But essentially, when you download that kit, you are able to just get this right out the box and then afterwards change it up to however you want to change it. Now, in the kit, you'll see all these automations. The first one is the client request form. So this is what the form looks like. Super simple. You just have your full name, email address, and then you choose a request type. So typically, you will define whether it's a deliverable, is it a strategy session, performance report, revisions, depending on your workflow. This is going to be completely something different. So, for example, for a SaaS company, this might be something like it's a bug, it's a feature request, it's an improvement. It really just depends on your workflow. For a marketing agency, it might be a new creative, it might be a meeting, it might be a new campaign. So, first thing you would do is change up these request types and then the request details. So, the person submitting this will write what they want, right? So, what their request is, once they type it in, they'll submit the request. And what happens in the background is basically, depending on the request type, you can define specific processes. So in this case, if the request type is equal to campaign proposal, just to keep it very simple and surface level, just so people can kind of follow along and edit it however you need, you will be able to, once you see the custom commissions over here, it says client request form, the request type contains campaign proposal. Then I want you to add a task to the client requests project under the new requests block and with the request details and put the position at the top and the type of task. So set the fields, put who it's submitted by, email address, optional, right? So basically, when I have this form and you can publish this wherever you want. So I can either just share this link with them directly or I can embed it on my website as like a contact form. So we can do view site. And you'll see this. And basically, if I submit anything over here, it's going to go into that project. Okay. Just going to open this. I'm going to go back to this page over here. So this client request project over here, if I submit a new request, so do narg Zagrabian, narg at taskade.com, and then my request type. By the way, this is something that we added to, so you can basically search through this. So if I do like deliverable, and then I need a new agent tool to help with auditing client sites and keywords using the new and latest agent tool output feature. Now, if I submit this request, it processing over here. If I go over here, you see that it added it into the new request field, added the deliverable over here, and it put the right email address and submitted by it as well. So now you can customize this form even more. But essentially, the idea is your client's entry point is this form. They submit this form, goes into your project. This project is what you use to monitor requests, and the automations that are built into it will automatically manage these requests based on the status updates over here. Now, go back over here. So we're going to go to manage. Basically, you can define each one of these. So if you wanted something different for a campaign proposal, for example, you wanted to add a set of tasks, not just one task, you can do that. For deliverables, you wanted a different one. You can specify what set of steps you want for each type of task in this case. So this is a common use case. And now you can just essentially manage client requests through this form. So that's one. Now, the second one that we have is moving tasks to the correct column based on status. So, for example, when the status field is updated in this project, oops, I'm gonna go back here. So, when this status field right here is updated, I want it to move to specific areas, right? And it's probably easier to look at it in board view as well, because this is more like a pipeline, but I choose table view because I like tables. But anyway, essentially, if I want these moved to the correct areas, this is the automation to monitor the move tasks to the correct column based on status. And basically, it's saying when the task custom field updated trigger in client requests, looking at the status field, we're going to split it into different scenarios. So, for example, if the status field is updated to new request, then I want you to move this task to the new request column. If it's updated to not started, move the task to not started, and in progress, completed, blocked, yada, yada, yada. So essentially, you can change what you want for each one of these. So, for example, let's say a request is changed to blocked. One thing that you can do is if your team member updates it, maybe you want to receive a direct message on Slack, right? So, you might want to send a direct message to myself. You're able to download, essentially send the direct message to myself saying, hey, this task ID, and then with this task content is blocked. So maybe I want to quickly know which ones are blocked. That way I can actually see what's going on and quickly address those to get the team moving forward. So let's say if a task needs approval, whenever it's updated to needs approval, maybe we send an email to the client, right? So we could send an email to it's me, I'm the client, me, myself, and I. You can add a subject line here and then afterwards, whatever, and basically say hi. And then you could even use the person submitted by, right? So hi, And for the email, you can use email address. So basically, whichever email it is that's associated with the person that submitted it. So we can do two email address associated with it. So for example, if I go to table view over here, if this is the email address of the person that submitted it, maybe if it goes to needs approval, I want to take this email address and send them a message saying, hey, we need your help regarding this task. When are you available? And add a Calendly link or something like that. So you can essentially specify these specific things, right? What series of steps you want. So this is just the template for you to kind of start customizing even more. And yeah, this is the second set of automation steps. We'll go back. Now, the third aspect is more flow specific. But the idea is that, well, if you assign a task to someone, you want it to automatically change it to in progress. So what you can do is you'll see that there's an automation that says when task is assigned, change status to in progress. When you say the task is assigned in any one of these, so in the client request project, you can also monitor just a specific block. So if I just want to look at new requests or not started, then I can monitor it just there. But yeah, I can just say when a task is assigned, I want you to update the status of that task to in progress. And then, well, since this is updated to in progress, it'll trigger this automation because when a status field is updated to in progress, it'll move the task to in progress column. And this is kind of how you chain automations together. And then there's the other one, which is when task is completed, change the status to completed. So same here, basically saying when a task is completed in whichever block in this project, I want you to update the custom field status to completed. And again, what this will do is it will trigger this move tasks to correct column based on status. So I can see when the status field is updated to completed, it'll move it to the completed column over here. So that basically goes over these four. Now, the only ones remaining are this daily and the weekly report. So, daily, basically, what this is going to do is it's going to update status from new request to not started. So, whenever you get a new request from a form, so someone submits something over here, this is going to go to this new requests column over here. Now, if it's submitted, maybe what I want to do is I want to every day update the new requests. I want to update their status from new requests to not started. That way I can see the more urgent and newer requests that come in. And so it automatically cleans up my pipeline and I can see new requests actually coming in. So that's just a daily flow. So you can see every day what I'm doing is I'm basically finding a task that all match this status where it's new request. And then I'm looping over every single one of those tasks. And I'm just updating the custom field to not started instead. That way it just completely refreshes and you kind of have a clean slate and you could see which ones are the newer ones and review those and then assign it to someone if you need to, whatever it is. So that's just the daily one. And then I've also added this as well because I didn't enable it, but you can tweak this and change it, tailor it for however you need to use it, which is the last one, which is the weekly report. And basically you could say every week. So you just choose when. We could do Monday at 8 a.m. every week. Find all the tasks that meet these requirements in this project. So we're going to find all the ones that have that say new request and not started. And we're going to take all those tasks and then we're just going to flatten it into like a list. So one of the things that you do is you can actually do transform array into string. And this basically takes this format and turns it into a list like this. So we've added this preview function as well. It's one of the recent updates where essentially you can see what it's going to look like. So for each task that it finds in that project, it's basically going to break it down into this. Like this would be like task, and then the task that it's working on, status, the statuses, and then the link to the task. And from here, you'll be able to essentially break this down into like a structured list. And then at the end of the week, just connect your Gmail and actually just send it out to your stakeholders or shareholders or client, whatever it is for that specific thing. You could do something like here are the tasks that haven't been started this week, and then give the result from this list over here. So you'll have uh, a neat little list that you can share with your team and kind of automate that workflow for shareholder updates and reports. And you can even turn this into a tool as well. So, I could just duplicate this real quick. And then instead of every week, I could just delete that, just create an agent tool instead. And I could do something like status. And then it will just search this. I can identify it. So if status contains or exactly matches, yeah, like new request, and you can throw in branching logic over here as well. So if I added like branching and stuff, if I add branching, I can basically say, depending on what status I give over here, you can use it to update and send emails based on that. But anyway, so that's kind of the idea. Delete this real quick. So yeah, all you'll have to do is just install this. I recommend navigating the project first, see, kind of mess around with it a little bit, see how it works. You'll see which automations are running on this by clicking on the three links at the top. And from there, I would just mess around with it, see how you like it, see what fields you want to set up over here. And then afterwards, go to the automations. Start with the form because that's your entry point. So depending on the type of request that they send, start from there, change all of these. So right now it says campaign proposal. You can change it up to whatever you need. Set it up, set your specific flows for this form. And then afterwards, change some of your statuses. So if you like the ones that I already gave you, you can do it. If you don't like it, sorry, I'll do better. But essentially, what you can do is then go into the status field. And if you change any one of these statuses, so if it's not new request and it's something different, you'll have to change this and just change the blocks as well. And yeah, that's pretty much you have a whole full functioning client request pipeline based off of just that. So I'll stop sharing. That was pretty much what I had on my end. I'm going to go through some of these questions right now and see which ones I need to address. Okay. So where does the client see this form? So the form, you can embed it on your website or you can publish it. And then let's see, from the project client requests, I do not have an automations option, only automate. Never mind, just figured out that the kit has to be installed into a folder. This project is created in a folder. Okay. Installing in a workspace doesn't work. That's interesting. It should work. Okay, let me take a screenshot of that. I'm gonna share that with the team later. But I'm gonna test it out on my end too. I think it should work. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna test it out. Okay, and then let's see. Are we able to just download a template client request form? So, oh, never mind. Stupid question when the whole point is installing kits. Fantastic work. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. we're working on improving the bundles. I mean, kits. Jesus Christ. We're working on improving the kits as much as possible. So you'll see a better UI as well, where essentially we explain more about what's included in it, how to use it, just kind of a lot more. It'll be like a landing page for the kit itself. And that way it's much easier for you to like share it with other people and they can get started right off the bat. And then let's see, where do we find the most comprehensive list of kits available? I'm looking for one specific to LinkedIn. I'm trying to remember. I think we are working on. Let me see if I got this. Okay. So we're actually putting together a list of kits right now. I am trying to remember what we had. Don't think it's exactly live just yet. Yeah, I don't think it's just ready just yet. So this is so you can find a whole bunch of these on our Reddit as well and Facebook. So Reddit, Facebook group as well. Let me send you the link to these communities. So definitely go to our communities over here. You'll find that we've been posting a lot of these kits, and we are putting together essentially like a kit, almost like a marketplace where people will be able to also like we'll upload our kits and in the future have the community and users actually upload kits as well. And yeah, so right now we're putting together a lot of those. And yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on this one. I think probably spent like 2 or 3 hours. uh, a lot of it was just kind of like figuring out how I want to structure it and trying to make it as broad and general as possible. That way, anyone can kind of get it. Like, if I just made it for like SaaS or like if I made it more specific for agile and software development, then I feel like people would just be like, ah, like how does that relate to me? But it's like you can use this for anything. So it's like you can do it for marketing, you can do it for any sort of agency tasks, any sort of project planning, anything like that, really. So wonderful use of Taskade automations and kits. The potential is mind blowing. I agree. Yeah, it's gonna save a lot of time in the future, and we're just getting started with it. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Let's see. Okay. Hello, Jimmy. For the AI agent example you showed earlier, the agent is able to conduct live HTTP requests. Is that available for the public agent as well? Basically, turning my public agent into a search agent. No. So this is something that we plan on working on. Basically, the idea is you being able to allow for certain interactions to happen with your agent publicly. It's this was basically a step towards that in the future. So right now, all of the public tools, all of the agent tools, all that stuff happens internally. So what I mean by that is essentially, let me see if I like minimize it. Okay. I tried to put it in such a way that like this block of text doesn't. Anyway, so right now the way it works is essentially all of the agent tools that you try to use are going to happen only from Taskade's interface. So you have to be an internal user, external users. When you share the AI agent, there is not like they're not. It's not going to trigger anything, and there's a reason for that. If you connected Gmail in an agent tool, it would be kind of weird if you shared it with someone and then they start sending emails on your behalf and drafting it. So there are some like nuances that we're figuring out as we go. But essentially, one of the things that we want to work towards is having the AI agents actually run automations based off of what you specify, right? So for example, you have a customer support agent, you put it on your website, you put it on your website. Sorry, I like see I see the chat at the same time and like sometimes it's hard to focus. But essentially you have a public AI agent, It's supposed to frontline your customer support. You have your customers choose what they want to reply with. So they say, I don't know, it's a technical issue, whatever it is. And depending on what they choose, you specify what happens with that. So I say, I have a bug. You write, okay, well, what are the steps to reproduce it? It presents them with a form. So basically, being able to define what happens when someone first starts interacting with it, or when certain requirements are met, or like essentially being able to have different use cases where users will be able to, the AI agent can do much more than simply respond. And that's in coming in the near future. So you'll be able to process a lot more things, intake. Um, like you can use it for intaking clients, booking appointments, creating meetings. Like you can do a lot with it essentially. But that's still, we're figuring that out portion out. You can see it. However, the tab at the top only says automate, not automations. Yeah. So this was basically to expose. The idea is just to expose that you can use automations on the project level. So I think as we simplify the UI more, we'll probably remove some of these elements or make them more specific. And yeah, let's see. I can see there's a channel on Discord named Kit Templates, but there's nothing inside. Yeah, we're compiling a lot of this, and then afterwards we'll be adding more to that channel. And yeah, it's something that I'll be adding more to. I'll be categorizing some of these kits as well. And we actually are, so we are creating, let me see. So one of the things that we are doing is basically you can actually look at this specifically. So I'll show you this. The Help Center over here, we have created a collection for AI kits, and then we'll be defining it per industry. But yeah, we also have a bunch of these on Reddit and Facebook and like some of the other places that we're already at. And let's see. I think this process will work on my project. The UI improvements make it far more user friendly. Yeah, we're working on a lot of other stuff too. And basically, one of the things that we can do in the future, one second. So, one of the things that we can do is one of the things that we'll do in the future is basically you'll be able to preview what's in the kit as well. And you'll be able to basically see, okay, does this fit my workflow? Does it not? And then afterwards from there, like actually use it. If it fits, if it doesn't, you avoid the whole process of installing it. And then let's see. Can Taskade open a website, log in, insert a value into the search field, and then scrape the result from the search? So, no. At least not right now. I don't even know if we, I don't know if we have plans to do something like this because terms of service for a lot of these platforms. Yeah. But essentially, can it open a website, log in, insert a value into the search field, and then scrape the result from the search? Uh, I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. Unless it has like an API directly, then maybe that's something that we can look into. But yeah, I think right now, I wish I could say yes, but no. And yeah, so that was pretty much all I had on my end. If you guys have any more questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Let me see here. Trying to get past the authentication is complicated. Uh, kinda. So it's like a mix of things. One of them is the authentication aspect. So like managing session keys and all that stuff. One, two. The other aspect is also which field does it actually fill out? So making sure that it actually fills out the proper field or like it's getting the proper data. A lot of websites take like very harsh countermeasures towards scrapers. And usually when they try to gate content, there's a reason for it. So they usually take a lot of like countermeasures to make sure that you can't really scrape it as much. So yeah, like LinkedIn is notorious for like I don't know how many times LinkedIn has actually like sued companies just to say that you can't scrape it. But yeah, LinkedIn. There's other ones too. Like Yelp is also very notorious for taking countermeasures for some of these things. But yeah, um, I think that's pretty much all I had on my end. So yeah, okay. On the same search question, can you scrape by a value? Can you elaborate by what you mean? Um, yeah, I'm actually very curious as to what this means. What do you mean by scrape by a value? Sorry, I'm like waiting for a response. In the meantime, if anyone else has questions, let me know. More than happy to answer them. But yeah, I mean, do you guys like these lives? Do you find them helpful, interesting? Okay, I got the response. For the filling out the field, if you have a URL with a search term, many times it is just the full website plus the search term. So you can maybe get around this using an agent tool. So this is probably like I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this, but essentially, let me see if I can tackle this. This is actually something that we like. Let's see. So if you go to a website and in the agent I put a part number, we'll scrape by that value. If it uses query parameters, then yes, but you would just need to yeah, you would just need to specify the URL. So I'll give you an example. This is going to be a bit odd, but actually I'll build it out for you. So let me share my screen. Oh, that is not the one I want to share. Let me share my screen window. This is the one I want to share. Okay. So the way I would probably do this is essentially I'm gonna go to automations. You're gonna create automation, start from scratch. We're gonna have an agent tool. And within this agent tool, we're going to add a specific parameter and we're gonna call this part number. And essentially what you'll do is you'll go to scrape web page. Ugh, I meant to dang it. You'll do scrape web page over here. And one of the things that you'll do is essentially you'll say when you're scraping this web page, the URL is going to be, I don't know, let's say taskade.com. And then usually you have like something that is like question mark part number equals, and over here you would just do at. Let's see if I could add the part number. Yeah. So, and you could do like HTTPS. I haven't tried this, but essentially the idea that I have in mind is you'll be able to, let me see if I can. I haven't tried this, but essentially what you'll be able to do is if you provide it with a part number, it'll scrape that web page. Assuming this is public and it can actually scrape the web page, you'll basically have this URL with the query parameter built in. And then from there, you can basically specify the output or have the AI agent summarize it, whatever it is. And then from here, I would do add output, and then it would just be the content. And then title would be like something like part number. So this is how I would go about it. But again, this would have to not be gated. So if you can figure out the query parameters aspect of this, then you could process it like that. If they have an API, one thing that you can do is instead of searching that specific area, you can send an HTTP request to it. So I can do get and then put the URL over here. Yeah. So you can put the URL that you or the endpoint, and then afterwards specify the query parameters over here. So something like part number, and then you would have part number as the value, and then have that sent into your agent tool output instead. So there are certain ways around it, but again, it just depends on like how the website is configured as well. So yeah, that's how I would go about that. I respond. My bad. There's I think a delay. So it's like if you respond, um sometimes there's a delay in the response. I think you are spot on. Thank you. I will let you know how it works once built. Yeah, of course. I'm always right. But yeah, I think like let me know how it goes. I think that's an interesting use case. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, this is probably pretty common for like part numbers and trying to get product data like that. You could probably even like enrich it a little bit more. So if certain information is missing, so let's see. But yeah, oh, I got another one. This may have been covered in the first half that I missed, but for web scraping, can you loop it and increment it in some ways? If you're scraping a directory, could you input A, then B, etc. for all the companies starting with each letter? There's like so many. I'm trying to process and see how I can address this. It's specific for the website one. Mm, it's interesting because I don't think we have a direct way of handling pagination or pagination. So essentially, if you were able to get all of the results in one go, then there's a way for you to address that. But if you can't because of pagination, I'm trying to figure out how that would work. Yeah, let me bring this up to the team. This is a very interesting use case. I've seen it somewhere else as well. I think the idea is essentially I'm just trying to figure out how we would handle the pagination. The way I would probably do something like this is essentially you would search and then you would get a list of results, and then you would just loop over every single one of those results. But the issue is that your set of results when you first search is incomplete. So, like for example, some websites when you search, it gives you the first 20 results, but there might be 40 or there might be 4,000. So it's like it'll only show you the first 20 and you just kind of have to have it load more or paginate essentially. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, this one, yeah, I would need to bring this up to the team. It's a very interesting use case because someone else also brought this up, and you can actually use it for a lot of different things. So any sort of directories, you can scrape those for job boards. So if you're trying to search for a certain type of job position, you can use it for that. Even listings on like freelancing or marketplaces, usually a lot of anything that has like lists, this is like a good use case for it. Even product results, product searches. So yeah, that's definitely, I'm gonna bring that up to the team as well. Please let me know if you think I can use Notebook LM. Not sure if there's an API. I would love to know as Taskade times out for lots of my documents and Notebook LM doesn't. I don't know if Notebook LM has an API. If it does, you might be able to use the send HTTP request as well. But yeah, I think I owe you a response because I got some more data from the team regarding your use case. But essentially, yeah, I don't know if Notebook LM has an API. If anyone knows, correct me on that. But if they do, then you might be able to use it for your use case. But yeah, um, let me see. Uh, let me take a screenshot of that too. Okay. Um, yeah. So that was pretty much all I had. I'm probably gonna be here for like another minute before I end. If there's any last moment questions, let me know. You are amazing. Thank you so much for everything. Oh, nah, you guys are amazing. You guys like find such creative ways of using these tools. I'm learning every day, so it's like, thank you. So yeah, I guess we'll do one more round table. Any last questions? Any last words? Speak now or forever hold your peace. You got 50 seconds, and then I'm ending the stream. Let's see. More updates next week. Do I count this as a question? Do I count this as the final question? Yeah, yeah. I mean, more updates every week. We send updates every day. I just don't have time to talk about all of them sometimes. So yeah, more updates next week. Feels like the New Year's countdown where the people that start from like 281, 280. So yeah. Anyway, all right. I think that's all I have, and yeah, thank you guys for joining, and see you guys